Okay, so hey guys, and here we are for, I believe, part 47 of the F1 Manager Minardi Manager Career Mode. And as you can see, finally we're going to be announcing the drivers for 2002, for the 2002 season. And now, obviously, as I've said a few times this series, but mainly at the start of the series, or the start of this season rather, we've had to make some cost cuts. And that's due to Paul Stoddart, who's now the new owner of Minardi ever since the start of 2001. And because of that, we have had to make some cost cuts. I mean, we were very lucky to get Mika Hakkinen for $7.5 million. The only reason we got him that cheap, which is about half the amount that you have to pay for him normally, the only reason we got him for half price is because he was out of contract. Because obviously he won the Drivers' Championship in '99 with McLaren, and then they just dropped him. So, there you go. But anyway, our driver number 1 for 2002, Luca Badoer. Well, Badoer, he's a familiar face, obviously, to Minardi. He was with us, well, he is still with us. I mean, he's with us right now. He is our test driver at the moment. But he was our race driver, and in fact, our driver number 1, back in 1999. So, let me just explain why I got Luca Badoer. In 1999, when we were the rubbish Minardi, he got 6th in Imola, 6th in Japan, and 5th at the Nürburgring. And at that race at the Nürburgring, he nearly lapped a Sauber. That's how good he is. He was on top form during 1999, and he was so good. Obviously, Ferrari took him on as their test driver for the 2000 season. Absolutely cleaned the floor with everyone in 2000 pre-season testing. And then, obviously, in 2001, he's our test driver, and he wiped the floor with everyone this time in pre-season testing. So, he's got lots of experience with quick cars. Obviously, this year's Minardi and last year's Ferrari, so the two dominant cars, really, in recent times. And he's got experience with the team. And as you can see, $2.5 million less than Hakkinen. So, there you go. And we know Badoer is brilliant. We saw it earlier on this series. That's why I got him. So, on to our driver number 2. As you can see, at the moment, is David Coulthard, who's done very well for us this series, as well as he can do, realistically, considering he's going up against Mika Hakkinen. And our driver number 2 for next year is Mika Salo. We've got him for the same price as we got Luca Badoer, both on $5 million a year contracts. What is David Coulthard on? $10.5 million. Wow, so half price essentially. So yeah, and Mika Salo, obviously, he was our driver number 2 in 2000. And he really was a surprise package when we signed him. He was phenomenal, because obviously we signed him alongside Damon Hill. I was expecting Damon Hill to be pushing Minardi to new boundaries, and Mika Salo to just be following in the wake of Damon Hill. It was pretty much always the other way round. Mika Salo was pretty much always quicker than Damon Hill. During the last few races of the season, that wasn't true, and in Belgium certainly Damon Hill was quicker. But most of the time, Salo was quicker than, you know, the 1996 world champion. That tells you how good he is. And obviously in real life, he replaced Michael Schumacher in '99 as well. So there you go. But yeah, he was such a quick driver. Mika Salo was surprisingly quick, considering the car we had in 2000 had a very bad chassis. Because he won in Imola and at Monza. So the team's 2 home races he won. And he finished last year with 45 championship points, which is more than Coulthard had in '99 when he was at McLaren. So there you go, Salo out. I mean, I know that's not really that good of a comparison, but it's a comparison nonetheless. And obviously he's relatively cheap. I mean, we picked him up in 2000, and he had no contract, so he was relatively cheap in 2000, and he's still pretty cheap now. Obviously, he's got a contract. We're buying him out of Stewart, but he's still relatively cheap. He was very cheap when we first got him, and not only that, he's cheap, but blisteringly quick. And so on to our test driver finally. So our test driver, as you can see, is Luca Badoer, and very good driver. Well, hence why I've got him as our driver number 1 for next year. And I know some of you may be watching thinking, oh, he's going to get Genet, he's going to get Mazzacane, something like that, because, you know, I've announced 2 drivers we've had before. That's not the case. We got a brand new driver to the Minardi family. Sure, we're keeping Badoer and we're getting back Salo, but we got someone brand new to the Minardi family. It's Patrick Lemarie. What a quick guy he has been, especially at the start of this season. So yeah, Lemarie, he is the new star onto the Formula 1 scene. Quite honestly, he is the new star. I mean, either that or Stephen Watson, but quite frankly, I think Lemarie has outshone Stephen Watson, I would say. Obviously, they are in different cars, but still. And he has impressed massively at the BAR team. And it's quite surprising because the BAR team has really fallen off on pace recently. If you look at their pace in the past few races, it's been nowhere to where they were in pre-season and the start of the season. But boy, did Lemarie make the most of that pace at the start of the season. In Australia, he finished 3rd, and Fisichella finished 5th. So Lemarie was quicker than Fisichella, and that was Lamarie's first ever Formula 1 race. And third. I think that was partly down to Coulthard retiring that race, if I'm correct, but still, that's phenomenal. And then at the second race, he finished 2nd. I mean, that's exceptional from Lemarie. 2nd in a BAR. And really, post-Brazil, if you look, he's had so many retirements. He's been almost as unlucky as Frentzen with the amount of retirements he's had. It's been exceptional, but he did still finish 5th in Austria, and that's despite the BAR falling off in terms of mid-season development. So, 3rd in Australia, 2nd in Brazil, 5th in Austria, and he was 5th last time out in Hungary as well, and then every other race, I believe, or pretty much every other race this season, he retired from. So there you go, and he's pretty cheap, $900,000, that's it. So there you go, Lemarie is going to be our test driver, and that's all my news. So there you go, that's everything. That is the team this year and next year. And on to the suppliers as well. So there you go, that's our team. That's everything sorted, announced, bam. And I think we've still got a strong team. We've made massive savings, but I still think we've got a strong team. But anyway, wow, that's all my announcements done for the year. Let's just see the announcements the other teams have. Right, so we have got some announcements. We've got Stewart confirms Bernard Duo as their technical director. So, again, I can't think of anything about Bernard Duo off the top of my head. But we've seen a few teams recently announce EA employees. I think one team did announce an EA employee as their technical director. So in comparison to that, that's Bernard Duo is a very good signing there for Stewart. And then we got a statement from McLaren. What on earth could this be? Every announcement McLaren makes this season is exceptional. As we've seen, Ron Dennis has gone mad. So what's he done this time? Eddie Irvine as a test driver. I mean, I know Eddie Irvine hasn't been quick this series. He really hasn't been quick. He's been... I mean, in '99 when he was at Ferrari, he wasn't all that quick. Stewart in 2000, he wasn't all that quick. This year, he hasn't really been all that quick at McLaren, but a test driver. I mean, I'm not saying Eddie Irvine is too good to be a test driver, although that is probably true. I think the big thing is, why would you want a $9 million a year test driver? That's way too much for a test driver. I mean, sure, he hasn't been good, but Eddie Irvine now, he's too good for a test driver role. Surely a $9 million, that's a waste of money. The great thing is though, is McLaren, as you can see in the description, this was actually the last driver announcement, this is. And McLaren have signed David Coulthard as their driver number 1, and Ricardo Zonta as their driver 2, and I believe Zonta at the moment is their test driver, or maybe he was in 2000 actually. I mean, I'm pretty certain he has been their test driver, yet they've decided to promote Zonta into a race seat and demote Irvine into a test driver role. Maybe they're just doing it just to take the piss because Irvine's a former Ferrari driver, so they're just taking the piss out of Ferrari. I don't know. To be honest, that's the most logical thing I can think of. Right, so that was it. That was all the news, and I guess that's kind of a good thing, because when I announce my drivers, that takes up a large portion of the video, so I'm glad there's literally pretty much no other news. I mean, apart from Irvine, but boy, was that some news. And I had a look back at some of the previous episodes due to kind of complications with my computer and all sorts. Basically, long and short of it, I had to check some facts. And actually, when I was looking at it, I found out some interesting stuff. So obviously last episode, we found out that we won the Constructors' Championship with how many races left to go? With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With 5 races to go. I mean, look, this is exceptional. I can hardly believe I'm saying this. But with 5 races to go, Minardi won the Constructors' Championship. But hey, I mean, Ferrari, which was our only challenger, really, I mean, Frentzen hasn't scored any points. By the look back, McLaren in 1999 only won the Constructors' Championship with 2 races to go, and Hakkinen only won the Drivers' Championship with a race to go. And in 2000, and bearing in mind that was a one-man team, that Ferrari in 2000, not to the same extent as now, but Neil McEwen didn't really score that many points. Ferrari won the Constructors' Championship at Monza with 2 races to go. So both of the teams previously this series won the Constructors' Championship with 2 races to go. We won it with 5 races to go. And then moving on to the Drivers' Championship, well, that is a completely different kettle of fish. Hakkinen won the Drivers' Championship with only a race to spare, and he had 114 points when he finished. He's going to have more than that now, I'll tell you. And in 2000, which bearing in mind was complete Schumacher dominance, especially in qualifying, Schumacher won the Drivers' Championship in Belgium with 3 races to go. That's the interesting thing. Michael Schumacher won in Belgium with 3 races to go. Now, because the 2000 calendar is different to this year's calendar, once we've done Belgium, there'll be 4 races left to go. But Mika Hakkinen, as long as Hakkinen wins the Belgian Grand Prix, he will, I'm pretty certain anyway, he will win the Drivers' Championship. So Hakkinen could win the Drivers' Championship in the same place that Schumacher did last year. So anyway, well, let's just have a look and see how the Belgian Grand Prix pans out. Okay, so qualifying has ended for the 2001 Belgian Grand Prix, and a few times over the past few years I've made references to Noah's Ark when describing the grid. That comparison has never been more accurate than it is right now, and let me just explain it to you. First and second are both Minardis, with Mika Hakkinen first and David Coulthard second. No surprise there, because Hakkinen, ever since their McLaren days and also now in their Minardi days, has always been quicker than David Coulthard. Michael Schumacher was in third once again in the Ferrari, and he was 2 seconds of that quicker than his teammate Heinz Frentzen in fourth. Both Williams, despite being very poor in previous races this season, seem to have caught up to the rest of the field, and this could be due to their design team working overtime, or maybe it could be the Supertec engines, which are more powerful than most of the other teams' engines, and especially at a power track like this, it's allowing Williams to catch up and overtake all the other teams, excluding Ferrari and Minardi. But just to clarify, Ralf Schumacher is in 5th in the Williams, with his teammate Stephen Watson in 6th. Both Williams are followed by both BARs headed by Fisichella. Then the only break in the chain is Jarno Trulli's in 9th, with both McLarens 10th and 11th, and then Della Rosa 12th. And I guess what that shows most of all is that the gap between Trulli and Della Rosa is bigger than the gap in pace between most other teammates. Both Stewarts are 13th and 14th, and Damon Hill, who was quicker than Salo when they were both at Minardi in 2000, is once again quicker than his Finnish teammate at the same track. Then it's both Saubers headed by Alexander Wirtz, ahead, surprisingly, of both Benettons, which are way down the field with Barrichello 17th and Sarrazin 18th. Jean de Lacy is in 19th, and while it's unlikely that Marc Genet would have qualified in 20th, judging by the rest of the field, you just got to assume it would have happened. But regardless, Jean de Lacy is in 19th, and then both Prosts are 20th and 21st. Just to reiterate, Marc Genet has run out of engines in the Arrows, and so he won't be taking any further part in this season. Right, so here we are on the race strategy screen. As you can see, a 2-stop for today's race, but then again, you couldn't really do a 1-stop, regardless of the tyre wear, because it's such a high fuel usage around this track. I mean, maybe you could, within reason, do a 1-stop, but you would be brimming the tanks. And then we just got to repair the parts on the cars. I did actually have to replace the suspension unit for David Coulthard at the start of practice, because he had... Well, his suspension was broken. I guess it must have broken last time out in Hungary, but I honestly cannot remember that race. But anyway, let's just repair the... Oh no, what have I done? What have I... Oh, please don't tell me that's... I've just given Coulthard a 4th model engine. What have I done? Oh, great. If I give him a 3rd model, then does that get rid of that 4th model, or do I just... Oh, that's ruined my bloody plan now, that has. Well, I'm going to have to give him a 3rd model, because I've done the setup according to the 3rd model's gear ratios, and I've done the fuel usage. Oh, please tell me there's 4 4th model engines. No, there's only... What do you mean there's only 3 4th model engines? Oh, that's stupid. I didn't even use that one. Oh, that's a mistake on my part then. Right, what I was meant to click was refit same parts. Hang on, what? Ross Brawn, what have you been doing? Apparently, Ross Brawn hasn't built any more suspension units. Well, how's Hakkinen going to win a race now? There's no way he's going to finish on that suspension unit. Well, how come we never had this with Gustav Brunner and we never had this with Mike Gascoyne? They always built enough parts for us. How come we run out of suspension units? I'm going to have to look into that after the race, but that means Hakkinen, there's no way he's going to win the race now. I mean, he's not going to finish. Unless I forgot to tell Ross Brawn to manufacture them, which I might have done, but I don't think I did. Well, great, that's Hakkinen's chance of a race win over now. Oh, do you know what? If I didn't give Coulthard the new suspension in practice and qualifying, then we could have had 2 new suspensions on both the cars. It meant Coulthard would have had to start from the back, but oh well. Oh, well, that was the most calamitous... the most calamitous going on and repairing the parts screen ever. I gave Coulthard the wrong engine and Hakkinen, well, whatever, let's just go on to the race. I tell you another thing which is bad about this race. I cannot watch the race for the first couple of turns. It just crashes my game. I don't know why. Yeah, it still might crash it now. If we accelerate to here. There we go, okay. And it did say there for a second that Fizzy Keller had passed Hakkinen. That's what it said temporarily, but as you can see, Frentzen's up into 3rd. It's a shame we missed how that happened, but Frentzen's up in 3rd, so he's got past Michael Schumacher. I don't know what's happened to Schumacher, because he's behind Frentzen and a BAR at least. So, Michael Schumacher's got a very bad start, and I wonder if the race is going to finish with 2, you know, with the cars especially next to each other, the Noah's Ark, like I was saying in qualifying. I wonder if it's going to end like that. Well, it's not going to for our team, because obviously Hakkinen... If Hakkinen finishes the race, this will be a miracle. But his suspension's half worn as it is. Wow. Both Sauber's doing very well actually. Sauber overtaking Benetton. Benetton have been very slow this season, no idea what's happened to them. And they're also ahead of one of the stewards, that is most likely Mika Salo. He's ahead of. Oh, there's Schumacher, there he is, he's behind the other BAR. No, he's behind a Williams. That is number 6, that is Ralf Schumacher, that is. And his brother has let him through, so there you go. So Ralf has let past Michael, so that's nice, that's some nice brotherly love there we're seeing. And yeah, Ralf doesn't make it too difficult, but of course they will be teammates next year. Oh god, quick, get off this screen. I was about to say, that would have crashed my game if I watch La Source, Eau Rouge, basically from the start finish line to Eau Rouge, that will crash my game, so good thing I turned off then. But anyway, as I was saying, Ralf Schumacher and Michael Schumacher will of course be teammates next year, so that'll be interesting. Oh, there's Lemarie. Look, this is what I mean. Lemarie has had very poor reliability this year, and he's out again with a suspension failure. Right, we'll have to see if Frentzen finishes the race. I know D-Man96 has been commenting hashtag RIP Frentzen. I will display that that hashtag on screen if Frentzen doesn't finish this race, and then we've got to get it trending on wherever. No way! What? Oh my god! Right, it's on the screen. Hashtag RIP Frentzen. 12 races with the biggest name in the Formula 1 business, and he hasn't finished any of them. Well, hashtag RIP Frentzen, okay. Right, I'm just waiting for Hakkinen to retire. He's 14 seconds quicker. Well, no, what? He's 14 seconds ahead, should I say. There's Hakkinen, out with a suspension failure. We saw it coming. That does mean, though, and it's unfortunate this has happened. I didn't want Hakkinen to retire. I didn't even know he was going to... I didn't know this was going to happen. This was ridiculous. But, this does mean that, well, Coulthard will catch up on Hakkinen. Coulthard could hold a last-minute charge and catch up to Hakkinen in the Drivers' Championship. No one else can mathematically catch up. Not even Michael Schumacher can catch up. We've had tons of retirements. Whoa. We've had tons of retirements. We got Zanardi. Oh god, a new one in Sarrazin. We got Sarrazin, Zanardi, Fisichella, Salo out of an engine failure. What about Hill? Oh, Hill's out of an engine failure. We got a podium here last year for us. Irvine's out. Ralf Schumacher's out of a fuel error, so Williams have really messed up their fuel strategy. And actually, whoa! Here's what's interesting. Well, Sauber are still neck and neck, so we could see a Noah's Ark in that respect. Jean Lacey is very close to being in the points places, and we've still got a lot of the race to go. We could see tons more retirements. Lacey... Right, never mind what I was saying. I was going to say Lacey could finish in the points. That's not going to happen. Okay. Well, look. We got Deniz ahead of Barrichello. Now, okay, this has been a manic race. Okay, both Saubers have got past Barrichello out, which I wasn't expecting. Schumacher's out of an electronics failure. There's only 6 runners left this race, and that means as long as everyone else can last another 2 laps, then they're guaranteed to score points, really. Wow. 6 finishes at the moment. Please tell me Coulthard finishes. If he retires as well, then... Oh, there's no, Right, I would watch Coulthard cross the line like I always do, but I'm worried the game will crash. And after such a manic race this has been, I don't want the game to crash right now. So, Coulthard will put it up on screen when he does cross the line. So, David Coulthard, the winner of the Belgian Grand Prix. Deniz out of an engine failure in the Sauber, so that's gutting, but he's still going to get a point. Just, anyway. There we go, Coulthard's won. And we should see the other people come across the line very soon. There we... No, hang on, we still got Wirtz and Barrichello battling out for 4th, but there we go. So David Coulthard has won the Belgian Grand Prix. Fantastic result for David Coulthard there. Stephen Watson, the rookie. I mean, this is, well, how much of a rookie he is now, debatable, but this is still his debut year in Formula 1 as a race driver, and he's got second place in the Williams. That's exceptional. Jacques Villeneuve in the McLaren, third place. Good stuff on Villeneuve, and I just saw tweeted not that long ago how Jacques Villeneuve had a PS2 futuristic racing game I never knew about. And, yes, that shows how stark-staring mad he was. I mean, as if there was any doubt. But there you go, Villeneuve in third place, despite being mad and money-grabbing, obviously. Well, yeah, we'll get off that topic. Wirtz in fourth, and Barrichello in fifth. And then Pedro Diniz, who didn't finish the race, was able to do more laps than everyone else, and so gets the last points in sixth. He did even more laps than Michael Schumacher. And just got to wait for it to carry on. And Villeneuve, going back to what I was saying about him being money-grabbing, obviously in the older F1 games, like, they didn't use his name, they called him John Newhouse, I believe, in some of the games. Williams number 1 in F1 1997. And then, as I found out today, he had his own PS2 branded futuristic racing game. What a guy. What a guy, Jacques Villeneuve. Didn't also Villeneuve wear racing overalls that were 2 sizes too big or something like that? So, what a guy. Anyway, David Coulthard took the checkered flag ahead of Stephen Watson. And what a manic race that was. The qualifying was mad in 2000 at Belgium, but geez, the race was mad here. So let's have a look what that's done to the driver standings. The driver standings. Schumacher didn't score any points, and while Schumacher won his Drivers' Championship at Belgium, Hakkinen didn't. Right, hang on, let me have a look at this manufacturing thing. Did we tell... Hang on. Yeah, whoa, yeah, I am reading that correctly. We are telling... Look, that's the newest model of suspension, and we're telling... Oh, no, don't tell me... Oh, I've just realised I've made a massive mistake. We could have just given Frentzen, Hakkinen an older suspension unit. Oh, that's stupid on my part, that is. But the fact remains is Gustav Brunner and Mike Gascoyne could still manufacture enough parts in time. And Ross Brawn hasn't been able to keep up with demand. Look, we're telling him to manufacture the new suspension unit, and he isn't. Oh, what? Oh, that was stupid on my part. I'm not even... Oh, whatever. I'm annoyed at myself, actually. I forgot about that. Whoa, what's happened to our sponsors? Jeez. Have I got to renew them? I'll worry about that next time. It doesn't matter. Next time we're at the home Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix. And, yeah, I'm still annoyed at myself. I don't even know what I'm saying. But the Italian Grand Prix, we won this race last year. A dominant race, actually, for Minardi last year. Helped in part by both Ferraris retiring. But still, we won here last year. And you never know. Maybe we could win here again. We'll have to see. I reckon we will. Unless we have some car reliability issues, or if I'm just plain stupid like I was today. Wow. I've just lost for words. Anyway, yeah, but Hakkinen hasn't won. Going back to what I was saying, Hakkinen has not won the Drivers' Championship. Coulthard could still take it off of him. And while I would happily see Hakkinen win the Drivers' Championship, I personally would rather have Coulthard win it. I'm not going to make Coulthard win it, but I'll tell you what, if Coulthard can win the Drivers' Championship, it's just like a repeat of my past Minardi manager save file I did before I ever recorded this series. It would be a sheer repeat, which I'll get into if it does happen. But there you go, Coulthard could well catch up to Hakkinen, but I'm not going to make that mistake again, so both of our guys should have fully functioning cars. And, well, yeah, the Italian Grand Prix, I'm all over the place. Italian Grand Prix, we won here last year. It's the team's home race, and it's a phenomenal track, a phenomenal Grand Prix, and hopefully it will put on a good race next time. So I'll see you then.